is up, guys? EJ here, back with another video, and today is going to be my DVD collection for 2016 and part 3 of the sci-fi section. So last time we finished with the P's, so starting off with the R's. Up first we have Real Steel from 2011 on Blu-ray. Yeah, good film, fun movie about futuristic fighting robots with Hugh Jackman. Who else was in this? Yeah, Anthony Mackie, Evangeline Lilly. I enjoyed it. Up next we have Red Planet from 2000 with Val Kilmer, Carrie-Anne Moss, and Tom Sizemore. Yeah, it came out same year as Mission to Mars, which I like a little bit more than this film, that's for sure. Alright, up next we have the recent Planet of the Apes films, Rise of the Planet of the Apes on Blu-ray from 2010, or 2011, sorry, with James Franco, Freida Pinto, John Lithgow, Tom Felton, and of course Andy Serkis as Caesar. Really sort of made that film great motion capturing once again. And Dawn of the Planet of the Apes from 2014. Yeah, enjoyed both these films. Yeah, good stuff. Alright, up next we have The Road from 2009, directed by John Hillcoat, based on the book by Cormac McCarthy. Viggo Mortensen, fantastic. Cody Smith-McPhee, Robert Duvall, and Charlize Theron. Yeah, good post-apocalyptic story about a father and son trying to survive. Alright, up next we have the RoboCop remake on Blu-ray from 2014. With Joel Kinnaman, Samuel L. Jackson, Gary Oldman, Michael Keaton. It wasn't great, but it had its moments. Up next, we have the original Rollerball from 1975 with James Caan. Yeah, the remake that came out like mid-2000s was terrible, but the 70s one is pretty good. Alright, moving on down here. Up next, we have a Arnold Schwarzenegger classic, The Running Man from 1987. Yeah, one of my favorite Arnie movies, with Maria Conchita Alonso and Yaphet Kotto. Great stuff, The Running Man. Alright, up next we have Serenity from 2005 with Nathan Fillion and Summer Glau, of course. Yeah, I saw this long before I ever got around to watching Firefly, but I did end up seeing Firefly, and I really loved the show, and the movie was great. The dialogue, the action scenes, just the characters were really fun. So yeah, Serenity was a really great film. Up next, we have Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. Yeah, interesting film from 2004 with Jude Law, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Angelina Jolie. I really like the dialogue in this film as well. Yeah, directed by, I think it's Kerry Conran. Yeah, interesting film, that one. Great visuals, good special effects. Up next we have Slaughterhouse 5 from 1972, directed by George Roy Hill. Yeah, a film he made in between Butch Cassidy and The Sting. His best films in my opinion, but yeah, this is a good movie as well. Up next we have Snowpiercer from 2014. Yeah, really good film by Bong Joon-ho, sorry, Bong Joon-ho, let me get that right. Yeah, Chris Evans, really good. Tilda Swinton, I thought was great. Jamie Bell, Octavia Spencer, John Hurt, and Ed Harris. Yeah, great movie about a train in perpetual motion on a frozen Earth. Yeah, really cool film. Alright, up next we have Source Code from 2011. Directed by Duncan Jones, with Jake Gyllenhaal, Michelle Monaghan, and Vera Farmiga. Good time travel thriller. Alright, up next we have Soylent Green from 1973. Soylent Green is people! Charlton Heston and Lee Taylor Young. Good stuff. Next we have Space Cowboys from 2000. Film directed by Clint Eastwood. Not really a sci-fi film, more kind of like Apollo 13. It's a drama really about these old guys, Clint Eastwood, Tommy Lee Jones, Donald Sutherland, and James Garner, who go up into space to fix a broken Russian satellite. Good film though, I like it. Alright, up next we have Spaceballs from 1986, I believe. Yeah, Mel Brooks classic, of course, with Bill Pullman, John Candy as Barf, Daphne Zuniga, and Rick Moranis as Dark Helmet. I just love Rick Moranis' performance in this film. Or 1987 this came out, sorry, not 86. God, this is still stuck like it was 4 years ago. Up next we have Species, Collector's Edition from 1995. Not a great movie with Natasha Henstridge, but some good nudity in this film with Ben Kingsley, Alfred Molina, Michael Madsen, Marge Helgenberger, and Forrest Whitaker. I did see Species 2 back in the day. I think that came out in 1998, but the other sequels I haven't seen. Alright, up next we have Sphere from 1998, Barry Levinson film with Dustin Hoffman, Sharon Stone, and Samuel L. Jackson. Sort of a poor man's The Abyss, but pretty interesting movie, good effects. Okay, up next we have Star Trek, directed by J.J. Abrams. Of course, the Star Trek reboot with Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Anton Yeltsin, John Cho, yeah, I think that's the guy who played Harold and Kumar, Simon Pegg. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Star Trek reboot, and I really enjoyed Star Trek Into Darkness as well from 2013. Fantastic sequel with Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan. Yeah, looking forward to seeing Beyond. I don't know how it turned out. If you guys have seen Beyond, let me know. But I'll definitely be watching that soon. Alright, up next we have the Star Wars films, of course. Star Wars The Phantom Menace from 1999. Not very good. My least favorite of the franchise, of course, with Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, and Natalie Portman. Poor kid who played Anakin Skywalker, just terrible. I do like the pod racing scene in that film. Up next we have Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, of course. Hayden Christensen as mopey Anakin. And then Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3, yeah, from 2005. Probably the best of the prequel trilogy. And then, of course, that leads me to the original trilogy, Star Wars from 1977, my all-time favorite of the franchise. Empire Strikes Back from 1980, fantastic. And Return of the Jedi. I'm a big fan of Jedi from 83. Yeah, I know people don't like the Ewoks, but when I was a kid, when I saw it, I like the Ewoks. Alright, moving on to Star Wars The Force Awakens from last year. Just terrific. J.J. Abrams knocked it out of the park, of course. Great seeing Harrison Ford and as Han back and Chewie together. Yeah, Carrie Fisher back as Princess Leia, or General Leia. The new cast was terrific. Daisy Ridley as Rey was fantastic. John Boyega, terrific. Oscar Isaac, really good as well. Kylo Ren, played by Adam Driver, fantastic. And of course, seeing Mark Hamill as the old Obi-Wan Kenobi, or old Luke Skywalker, sorry, at the end of the film, just awesome. I loved everything about the new one, and I can't wait to see where they go with it from here. Alright, up next we have Stargate from 1994 with Kurt Russell and James Spader. Never got into watching the various TV shows that this film produced, directed by Roland Emmerich. Up next we have Starship Troopers from 1997. Yeah, fun movie, directed by Paul Verhoeven with Casper Van Dien, Dina Meyer. MPH, Neil Patrick Harris was good. Denise Richards in the movie as well. Jake Busey. Yeah, really cool visuals. The creatures, the aliens that they fight are just badass. Like, rip people to shreds, and yeah, cool film. Up next we have Strange Days from 1995. Really good film directed by Catherine Bigelow. Takes place on New Year's Eve, 1999, the Millennium with Ralph Fiennes, Angela Bassett, and Juliette Lewis. Up next, we have Sunshine from 2007. Really good space exploration film directed by Danny Boyle. Really good visuals, really cool movie. Like that film a lot. Up next, we have Super 8 on Blu-ray from 2011. Yeah, directed by J.J. Abrams and produced by Steven Spielberg. Love this film with Elle Fanning. The young cast were really good. Yeah, reminded me of E.T. a lot. Had that same sort of feel. I just love movies like this. Alright, up next we have Surrogates from 2009. Yeah, interesting sort of clone sci-fi thriller with Bruce Willis that I liked a lot. Up next we have Tarantula from 1955. Great giant bug movie. Alright, up next we have the Terminator films. The first one, of course, from 1984. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, and Michael Biehn. James Cameron, masterpiece. And then equally as good, if not better, T2, Terminator 2 Judgment Day from 1991. The special effects. Robert Patrick is the T-1000, so memorable. Even, what's his name? The kid. What's his fucking name? Oh, it's gonna kill me that I forgot the kid's name. Kid who was in American History X. Yeah, he was good in that movie. Up next we have Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines from 2003, of course, with Kristanna Loken as the female Terminator. Claire Danes I liked a lot in this movie. Nick Stahl. Yeah, I like Rise of the Machines, especially since the last couple of Terminators haven't been that great. Rise of the Machines has gone up in my eyes. And that leads me to Terminator Salvation from 2009 with Christian Bale and Sam Worthington. At this point, the whole timeline and Judgment Day and all that kind of stuff has changed so much. It's become a bit of a mess, if you ask me, when it comes to the Terminator franchise. And that, of course, leads me to Terminator Genesis, which I picked up recently from last year on 3D Blu-ray. Yeah, I like Emilia Clarke and Jason Clarke, but I thought what they did with Connor's character just really pissed me off. So yeah, Terminator Genesis is my least favorite of the franchise. Alright, up next we have Them from 1954, another great giant bug movie, giant ants. Yeah, just a fantastic film. Up next we have John Carpenter's They Live from 1988 with Rowdy Roddy Piper, of course, Keith David. Fantastic movie, really loads of fun. I remember seeing this in the film class in college. It was a film class about television, so that's why we watched that movie, because of all the subliminal messages in like TV ads and that kind of stuff. But it's interesting that we watched that movie. Up next we have The Thing from 1982, another John Carpenter classic, of course, with Kurt Russell. Just a fantastic movie, great setting in the Antarctic. Wasn't a fan of the remake with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, even though I like her as an actress. I didn't really care for the remake. And speaking of The Thing, we also have The Thing from Another World, the 1951 original starring James Arness, produced by Howard Hawks. Up next we have The 13th Floor from 1999. Yeah, interesting sort of sci-fi cyber thriller with Craig Bierko, Gretchen Mol, who I'm a fan of, and Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah, good little movie this. Up next we have the original The Time Machine from 1960, produced by George Pal, of course based on the H.G. Wells classic with Rod Taylor. And I also have the remake, which isn't very good, from 2002 with Guy Pearce. Up next we have Time Cop from 1994, classic Jean-Claude Van Damme, one of my favorite Van Damme films, alongside Mia Sara. And what's the villain's name? I forget his name. Yeah, Juan Silver. He's good as the villain in Time Cop. Alright, up next, if we can pull it out, we have Total Recall from 1990, one of Schwarzenegger's best, of course. Fantastic movie, directed by Paul Verhoeven. Yeah, Sharon Stone, wonderful. Rachel Ticotin, Michael Ironside. Loved the first Total Recall. I think it's Arnold's most underrated film. And Total Recall, the remake from 2012 on Blu-ray. Yeah, I enjoyed this film with Colin Farrell, Kate Beckinsale. You should know I'm a Kate Beckinsale fan by now, and Jessica Biel. I thought the action scenes were pretty good, and it paid decent homage to the original. Alright, up next we have Transcendence from 2014. Very maligned film from that year with Johnny Depp. I always forget her name. God damn it. Good actress. Appeared in a bunch of stuff recently. Morgan Freeman as well. Yeah, it's not coming to me. Yeah, good film. I thought. Guy who uploads his consciousness into a sort of computer system, and then it sort of goes haywire, of course. Up next we have the Transformers franchise, the first one from 2007, directed by Michael Bay, of course, Shia LaBeouf, Megan Fox, Stanley Tucci. I enjoy it, even though the character is a bit silly. The effects are great from the Transformers franchise. But Revenge of the Fallen, my least favorite of the franchise from 2009, quite terrible. Dark of the Moon from 2011 on Blu-ray. I like the beginning and the ending of this film. The stuff in the middle is a bit ridiculous. And of course, no Megan Fox, which is a shame. And then we have Age of Extinction. Mark Wahlberg comes along for the ride. Yeah, I really don't remember. I think it's better than the second one, that's for sure. Probably not as good as the third one, in my opinion. But yeah, Transformers film is a bit tired at this point. Alright, up next we have Ultraviolet from 2006. Good film starring Mila Jovovich kicking a lot of ass. Sort of like Eon Flux, which came out like a year before this. But yeah, I like Mila Jovovich. Alright, up next we have V for Vendetta from 2005. Terrific film with Natalie Portman and Hugo Weaving. Just a fantastic movie. Up next we have Tremors from 1990, classic of course, with Kevin Bacon, really fun movie. Yeah, Fred Ward, fantastic film. Not really a fan of the sequels, so I don't have any of them. Up next we have Tron, the 1982 original 20th anniversary collector's edition. Fantastic movie, great visuals, really ahead of its time, I thought, when I first saw it growing up. Yeah, there was never a film like it that I can remember at that time, and it's still a unique movie, as is the sequel, Tron Legacy from 2011, I guess. Good visuals, great soundtrack by Daft Punk, but not as good as the first one. Alright, up next we have Under the Skin from 2014. Yeah, great film directed by Jonathan Glazer with Scarlett Johansson as a alien prowling on men in Britain, driving around, picking them up. Yeah, really interesting film. I liked it a lot. I like very little dialogue and just great visually and just a great atmosphere. I really liked Under the Skin. Alright, up next we have Vanilla Sky from 2001. Yeah, like I said, remake of Open Your Eyes. And of course Penelope Cruz stars in this film as well, alongside Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz. Directed by Cameron Crowe. Fantastic movie, great visuals, great story. Just a really good performance by Tom Cruise as well. Up next we have the War of the Worlds from 1953, the original classic, of course, based on H.G. Wells' great book, starring Gene Barry. Fantastic, one of my favorite 50s sci-fi films, and I'm a big fan of Steven Spielberg's remake, War of the Worlds from 2005 with Tom Cruise and Dakota Fanning. Tim Robbins' great appearance in that film as well. And up next we have Waterworld from 1995, one of the big bombs of the 90s, directed by Kevin Reynolds, who I'm a big fan of, starring Kevin Costner and Dennis Hopper, sorry. And last but not least, we have Westworld from 1973, written and directed by Michael Crichton. And of course, this is getting made into a TV series that's coming out very soon. So with, I think, Anthony Hopkins. So yeah, I might have to check that out. Yul Brynner, great in this one. Great sci-fi film from the 70s. So that is my sci-fi collection. Up next will be my silent films, which is pretty small, so that'll be one video. So thank you for watching as always, and until next time, I'll see ya.